Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. All right, we are back with another lazy masquerade. This one is titled Five Scary True USA Horror Stories, New York, Massachusetts, Washington, Kentucky, Maine. And this is volume 4 of the 10-part series that we've been doing. I really have been enjoying them. It's kind of like Tales by the Campfire type deal. I like stuff like that. It's fun. I enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too. So let's go ahead and get into today's story. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cuddle up with someone special. Let's get spooky.
This is Volume 4 of my American Road Trip series, in which I'm narrating one scary story from every US state. Be sure to check out the first 3 parts if you haven't already. Don't worry, you can do it after this video. You don't have to watch them in order. Thank you to everyone who's emailed in their stories thus far, and a big thank you to Let's Read as well for lending his voice in this episode. Be sure to check out his channel via the link in the description below. Now, buckle up as we continue on our journey down Route 666.
Now, see, I can see a lot of messed up stuff happening in Washington. They got a lot of forest and woods and stuff. I'm just saying, like, it's, and it's probably really easy to just cross to the border of Canada too. Like, get on a back road, boom, done, gone. You're in a whole other place. You know what I mean?
I have thalassophobia. This is defined as an intense and persistent fear of the sea or of sea travel. It can also include the fear of being in large bodies of water.
Learned something new today. See? Welcome to the Bill 5000 Nation, where we learn something new sometimes. At least, yeah.
Fear of the vast emptiness of the sea, of sea waves, and of distance from land. Most people find this odd, considering I grew up on an island in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, that's
My relationship with the ocean is one of love and hate. I find it beautiful and mysterious and terrifying all at the same time. I can ride a ferry or a boat like riding in a car, and I can even swim in the shallows. It's what's beyond there that scares me. This experience is responsible for that fear.
I don't know if I want to hear this. Like, I'm still okay with swimming places. Like, shit. I'm already scared of flying now because of stories. I'm scared of road trips now. Freaking looking for gold in the mountains because of aliens and shit. I don't want don't ruin my swimming experience. I'm good at it. Don't do this. Oh shit. Got into a fight with the Loch Ness monster. That'd be cool though.
I was 10 years old. My grandparents lived right on the beach where the ferry docks. When I say right on the beach, I mean there was only a 20-foot long yard and a stone bulkhead separating their home from the shore. I grew up digging for clams when
That's right on the damn beach.
the tide was low, building forts from driftwood and swimming in the freezing cold waters of Puget Sound. I had no fear of the sea. I guess it also helped that my parents' home was close to the ocean too. This particular morning, my grandfather had recruited me to help him repair one of the crab pots that he had set up the previous week. It was early, and there was a layer of fog covering the water. I hopped in the small boat and buckled my life jacket as my grandfather pushed us out into the sea. I let my fingers slide across the top of the water as we moved farther and farther out. The sea became darker and darker. Soon I could no longer see the bottom. We stopped at the bright orange and red buoys that marked our pots. While my grandpa pulled up the broken one, I stared over the side of our small boat. I could see a small school of fish swimming just below the surface. My grandpa asked me for some pliers. I reached down into the bag of tools in front of me and pulled out a pair. As I handed them to my grandpa, I looked over the edge of the boat again. The school of fish had scattered quickly. I looked closer into the darkness and saw 2 eyes staring back at me. I knew what fish eyes looked like, and these were not the eyes of a fish. They looked human. They were large and wide, and they were coming closer, rising from the depths of the water.
Maybe it's just a mermaid. Maybe it's Aquaman. Maybe it's a merman. Maybe I'm just trying to justify everything because I don't, I don't want to know what the hell scares the shit out of her. And these people, that's just, shit.
They were wild and horrible. I jerked back, causing the boat to rock. My grandpa grabbed the back of my life jacket to stop me from falling over the edge. "Whoa, kiddo, what's got you spooked?" I pointed into the water and just said, "Eyes." My grandpa looked at me quizzically and then peered over the side of the boat where I'd been. Now, my grandpa was an Irish World War II veteran, a former boxer who was covered in tattoos.
He is stone cold motherfucker then. He one of them rock face people. Used to walk to school 20 miles. Uphill, both directions, in snow. One of them people.
Not a lot rattled the guy. When he looked back at me, I saw the distress on his weathered face.
Oh shit.
Without a word, he threw the crab pot he had been working on back in the water. "Jules, don't look into the water, okay? And keep your hands in your lap." The tone of his voice was low and serious, but I could tell by the way he called me by my nickname he was trying to keep me calm. I was the baby of the family, and my grandpa had always been fiercely protective of me. He rowed back to shore faster than I thought a 76-year-old man could. Of course, my curiosity got the better of me, and I glanced into that dark water. About a foot below the surface, I saw what looked like black hair floating, moving through the water. I yelped and felt tears rolling down my cheeks. When the boat hit the rocky sand, my grandpa jumped out and pulled the boat out of the water. I was too scared to move. My grandpa picked me up and carried me up the stone steps to the yard. He didn't set me down until we walked through the front door. My grandma was standing in the living room with a concerned look on her face. "Sweet Jesus, Richard, what's wrong? You're as white as a sheet." He set me down and knelt down next to me. "Go in your grandma's room and watch TV, okay?" he said to me, ruffling my hair and wiping a tear from my cheek. I ran into her bedroom and jumped on her big bed where their black cat, Dynamite, was sleeping. I cuddled up next to him as he purred. I strained my ears to listen to my grandparents going back and forth in the living room. "Barbara, they were human eyes, like some goddamn banshee rising up from the depths of hell. Scared the kid half to death." My grandmother didn't say anything. "I'm not taking the kids out on that boat. Not anymore." I tried to focus on the TV. I tried not to think about those eyes, what that thing could have possibly been. I had nightmares for weeks after that. As I got older, the memory seemed to fade.
I mean, now I'm just mainly intrigued on what the fuck it was. Like, I guess got their grandpa, and he sounds like a stone type person. Like, he 60-some years old, Irish, World War II vet. War shit. He don't give a damn. He's like, I'll punch it in the face. It had him scared. What the?
It still lurked in the back of my mind, but not as strongly as it did before. I often wondered if I had really seen it at all, if, in my adolescence, I had let my imagination get away from me.
No, because the papa wouldn't have been that freaked out as well. Like, he was ready to go. He was ready to go.
When I was a junior in high school, my grandfather passed away. Before he did, I remember sitting in the living room with him. He rocked back and forth in his old chair as he carved the hunk of wood in his hand. "Hey, do you remember that time that we went out to fix the crab pot, and we saw that thing in the water?" I asked him. I half expected him to look at me like I was crazy, but he didn't. He stopped rocking. He didn't look up from his carving, but I could see his facial expression change. "Yeah, but there was something I didn't tell you at the time. You were too young, and I didn't want to spook you any more than you already were. When I was pulling the boat in, I saw a head poking out the water. Just the top. It was covered in black hair, and those eyes were staring right at me. That's why I picked you up out of the boat and carried you. I didn't want to chance that thing snatching you." I sat there in disbelief. Even at 83 and having survived 2 heart attacks and a stroke, this still shook him to the core.
Fucking goosebumps, bro. Holy shitballs.
Not too long after this conversation, my grandfather passed away. As I said in the beginning of the story, I have a love-hate relationship with the ocean. It's beautiful and mysterious, but I'm sure that in its depths harbor dark things we cannot even begin to fathom. Whenever I ride the ferry, which is often, I find myself staring into the inky abyss of the Sound and expect to see those eyes staring back.
I would have shit myself. Let some damn eyeballs come floating up out. No, 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 no. Oh God. What kind of evil ass mermaid shit is this? Like the Little Mermaid from hell. Oh God, I'm sure there's like some sort of mythical creature that comes from the water and eats children. There's gotta be. It was probably that. Son of a mother shit.
I was just a kid when this happened, growing up near Salem, Massachusetts. A spooky part of the world, to be sure. But this story doesn't have anything to do with the supernatural or anything like that. This is one of those experiences that goes to show real life is far darker.
Oh shit. Oh shit. We don't want to know about real life. That scares me more than the fake life.
I was young at the time, only 6 or 7 years old, and was out with my parents at a fun fair. Everything's a bit hazy, what with that blurriness of childhood memories. But somehow, I must have become separated from my parents while playing with the other kids. Next thing I know, I'm holding onto my mother's hand and being quickly dragged away. Her grip was extremely tight. Initially, I'm focused on trying not to trip over, my little legs struggling to keep up with her fast pace. When I regained my balance, I looked up at my mum to see what the hurry was all about. That's when I see it wasn't my mum holding my hand. It was some woman I had never seen in my life, with big, round sunglasses on, despite the fact it was a grey, cloudy day outside. A big summer hat sat atop her head.
Fuck no. I would have bit that motherfucker. I would. I would have bit like a rabbit chihuahua. I was a violent little child. I would have bit the shit out.
A man walked fastly alongside her, also wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap.
I bit the shit out of her. I would have kicked him in his dick, and I would have ran like a motherfucker. Find out. No. You think you gonna take me without me screaming bloody murder, acting like a fool? Hell no. You gonna kidnap me, you gonna put in the work for it. That's just how it is.
Neither of them said a word, not to me or each other. For whatever reason, be it because I was scared or confused, I didn't cry out for help. Next thing I know, we're walking in the parking lot, approaching their vehicle. The man goes to unlock the door, and something finally clicks in my head that I need to get away right now. While the woman holding onto me was focused on opening the back door, I quickly snatched my hand free and ran back in the direction of the funfair, finally screaming and making a whole lot of noise. In floods of tears, I remember running up to a member of staff outside the gate. He was quickly able to reunite me with my parents. They had reported me missing to the workers, who were all on the lookout for me. The look of relief on my mother's face, I'll never forget it. My parents thanked the staff, and after I told them what happened, the authorities were called. I told them everything I could remember about the couple. Then we headed home and stopped for ice cream on the way. When I got older, my parents filled me in on a few more details I never knew as a child. Apparently, the cops checked out the CCTV footage of the parking lot. It showed my would-be captors walking with me to their vehicle. When they realized I had escaped, the male contemplated chasing after me, but the female pulled him back, and the pair jumped in their car and hightailed it out of there. The license plates were fakes. The cops called a couple of weeks later, letting us know that they had found their car. It was left burnt out and abandoned in a secluded, woody area. As far as we know, the suspects were never found, or at least not linked to my case. What their intentions were for me, I'll thankfully never know.
Probably don't want to know. I mean, if they was willing to burn that car to the ground, it was either going to take you and make you theirs, it was going to take you and kill you, take you and eat you, do bad things to you. Shit. I wouldn't want to think about the things that could have been, because there's some fucked up shit that could have been. Some very fucked up shit. Damn. Oh, no. No, I wouldn't. No. I bit this shit out of them. All of it.
I'm just happy 7-year-old me knew better than to hang around and find out. I
Probably been better 7-year-old you wouldn't have waited until you was in the damn parking lot.
Suspect that if I didn't make a run for it, you'd probably all know my face from the covers of newspapers.
I mean, that's scary as shit, though. Like, I get the premise being a little kid and just, like, paralyzed with fear at that point. I was an asshole of a child. I was. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I was an asshole of a child. I'd be like, who the hell's is you? Ask my mama. She'll tell you. She won't lie to make things sound better than it is. Ever. She won't sugarcoat shit. She'd tell you exactly how big of an asshole I used to be whenever I was a kid. Oh, damn.
Growing up as a kid in small-town Maine, I always had to walk past this creepy old house on my way back from school. It used to give me the willies. It looked half dilapidated, and the windows were always so dusty you could never see inside. The lights were always off, and I never got the impression that anyone actually lived there. It was like the quintessential haunted house that you see in a cheesy horror movie. Twice a day, 5 times a week, I speed-walked past that old house. It just had this horrible aura about it. Bad mojo, no bueno. It was summer at the time this happened. I forget how old I was, maybe 12 or 13. School had just finished, and I was walking back to my place by myself. I inevitably get to the old house, and for the first time ever, I saw somebody exiting the property. A man who looked to be in his mid-70s, dressed completely in black, like he was heading to a funeral or something. He had slicked back, medium-length white hair, wrinkles as deep as the Grand Canyon all over his face. He was in the process of walking out the front gate when he stopped me.
Afternoon, young man.
Good afternoon, sir.
Out for a stroll by yourself, huh?
Just heading home, sir.
Heading...
Damn it, Lurch, leave me alone. No, I'm. What is wrong with these people? What? No.
Back to your house, is that right? Your parents are expecting you, I suppose.
Yeah.
An awkward pause followed as he just stared at me.
Your house doesn't look anything like that, does it?
He motioned to the old, rotten house behind him. Oh, no, sir. Not as, old. Do you live here? The old man laughed, seemingly to himself, exposing his brown, crooked teeth. That smile stayed on his face for the rest of our conversation.
Not quite. Though I've been here many, many years now.
Weird, I thought. What kind of answer was that? So what? You're like the gardener or something? The man cackled again.
I like you, son. So I'm gonna tell you something I wish somebody told me a long time ago. Never go inside that house, no matter what.
Why? I asked.
That's the maze house. It's a labyrinth.
What's that mean?
It means if you go in, you'll almost certainly end up getting lost. It's much bigger on the inside with hundreds of floors, thousands of rooms, and hallways that go on for miles. Some people never find their way back out of it again. Hell, I wandered in as a young man, only just found my way out now. Decades I've been lost in there. All my little friends I was with didn't make it. Lost them years ago. They're still in there, somewhere. But I kept going.
He took a deep breath of the fresh air.
Fuck that. Be like, no, bro, I can't deal with you. Well, no, fuck that. Fuck it. No. No. See, you couldn't tell me that shit as a child. I'd be like, what? Bruh, I could do it faster, better. Shit, watch this. Hold my beer.
It's good to finally see another person again.
I figured the old man was just going a little cuckoo. Obviously, I was a little too old at this point to believe such nonsense, but I remained polite and nodded along to the old man's story.
So, you'll stay away, right? Promise me that. I'd hate to think what might happen to you in there.
Yeah, of course, mister.
There's a good boy.
And with that, the old man hobbled on down the road to who knows where, still laughing to himself as he went. I made my way home and told my parents about the old geezer and his story. Told them about the so-called maze house. Sounds like a nut job, they said. Make sure to stay away from him. The years rolled by, and in time, I forgot about the old man and his wild tale. It wasn't until they started demolishing that house that I remembered the encounter and remembered what he had told me. It gave me a good laugh. A good laugh, that is, until the news came out. While taking down the old house, one of the demolition men found something in amongst the ruins. The top of a human skull, nestled in the debris. Phone calls were made, and the authorities came to check the discovery. Unfortunately, that wasn't all they found. In total, the skeletal remains of 3 children were found in the house's foundation. When I heard this, my thoughts turned to the old man I met years ago. Did he know something about those bones? Worse yet, was he the one who put them there? Had he
That's what I've been asking, like, crazy old college would try and make up stories, try to get you interested in going, because, maybe he was trying to use that reverse psychology bullshit. Tell a kid not to do something, it's going to be like I said, whenever I was a kid, I've been like, oh, my beer. I got this, bro. And then he would have went in there and killed my little ass. See? Dirty son bitch.
Concocted some story about a maze-like house as some kind of sick joke, or even a clue about his crimes. I asked my parents if they remembered me telling them about the old man, if they remembered who he was. They were completely confused, and didn't recall me telling them any such story. Nor did they recall any old man who had lived in that house. As far as they knew, it had been abandoned since we moved to the area. And they were right. There was no record of anyone living in the so-called maze house for decades. It really was abandoned. As far as I know, nobody in my town remembers that old man. None of the local newspapers reported about him. The identities of the 3 skeletons remain unknown, though experts believe they had been in the foundation since at least the 50s, maybe even the 40s. Nothing more has ever come of the case. No leads at all. Nothing. In fact, it's hardly been reported on at all, seeing as everyone assumes these bodies have been there for years and years and years. This has perplexed me for the longest time.
Right? Like, I mean, is there a way to go back and look at missing people's, like, reports from back then and see if there was, like, 3 or 4 kids that went missing? Like, I would, I, I, I couldn't live with myself not knowing what I didn't know. I need to know what I don't know so I know what I didn't know, you know?
Why can't anyone track him down? Why does nobody else remember seeing him around town? Had he somehow been living in that house without anyone ever realizing it? Hell, did I make the whole encounter up in my head? Or maybe, was there really something paranormal about that house? Whatever the case, I'm just glad he told me to stay away and didn't invite me in.
Right? Because that'd be awkward as shit. Go in there and you'd be another body.
I'm sure my fellow New Yorkers are probably familiar with this one. Over here on Staten Island, we have, or should I say had, a well-known urban legend. I grew up here in the 1980s, and during my childhood, I would routinely hear stories about an evil figure called Cropsey. He was Staten Island's very own bogeyman. Parents would use him as a tool to frighten their children into being good and not wandering far from home. Us local kids would discuss him frequently, during scout meetings, general hangouts, all the time really. Cropsey was said to be a disfigured madman with a hook for a hand who escaped a lunatic asylum. He would hunt down children and drag them back to the ruins of an abandoned hospital. Since none of us knew when he might strike, the story was effective at keeping us from straying too far. It was a creepy myth for sure, but obviously nothing more than that. Well, that's what everyone thought at least. In reality, Cropsey wasn't as fictional as everyone hoped. His name was Andre Rand.
So what is a cropsey? Is it supposed to be like a swamp thing? Like, is it a swamp thing? Like an abominable stick man?
And he was just as insane as his legendary counterpart. He was a janitor who worked at the Willowbrook State School, a place with its own sordid history. The school was for children with intellectual disabilities, and the poor students that attended the school were routinely tormented in various, horrible ways. For instance, the school was the setting of one of the United States' most inhumane medical experiments. Healthy children were injected with hepatitis by medical staff so that they could be used as human guinea pigs.
What kind of bullshit is that? That's like some mad scientist bullshit right there. Nah, I'd bit the shit out of someone.
As you can imagine, many became extremely sick. Since most of the kids at the school had been abandoned by their parents and by the foster care system, the general public was none the wiser about these experiments.
That's sad. That's just sad because everyone, because they had no. That really kind of pisses me off.
Anyway, Rand was homeless at the time, and living near the abandoned hospital from the Cropsey legend. He had an extensive criminal record. When children from Staten Island started disappearing, Rand was, of course, a prime suspect. When they found the body of Jennifer Schweiger in a shallow grave near his makeshift home, their worst fears were confirmed. Witnesses had apparently seen her walking with Rand prior to her vanishing. To make a long story short, Rand was the real-life Cropsey. He was found to be responsible for the murder of not only Jennifer, but also 4 other people who disappeared from the community. Alice Pereira, aged 5, Holly Ann Hughes, 7, Tiahese Jackson, 11, and Hank Gaforio, 22.
This was like a real-life damn boogeyman. What the fuck?
Their remains have never been found. As it stands, Andre Rand won't be eligible for parole until 2037. He'll be 93 years old. This isn't the only urban legend I know that turned out not to be fictitious. Makes you wonder about all the others.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like urban legends, fairy tales, stories, campfire stories, they all stem back to something based in fact, based in truth, some sort of reality. Yeah, it has probably gotten murky and convoluted over time, but everything has its place and time that it happened. You know what I mean? Kentucky.
I live in a town that's about 30 minutes east of Louisville and is what's considered a rural community. Where I live at, hunting is a very big deal, and almost everyone has been at least once. I myself am an avid deer hunter, and have been since I was 10. My first time out was about 8 years ago. I was with my dad on our farm, and lo and behold, within 30 minutes of opening morning, I had killed my first deer. That afternoon, I accompanied my dad into the woods as he was hunting for his deer for the season. Being 10, I had no choice, because he didn't want me left alone at our house. For those of you who have never been deer hunting, you're always supposed to wear a bright orange vest so that you can be seen by other hunters. While I was sitting with my dad in the woods, he fell asleep next to me with his rifle at his side. Being an antsy 10-year-old, I was really bored and had nobody to talk to, so I just started looking around. I looked ahead and noticed a man walking along. He wasn't wearing orange like he was supposed to be, and wore clothing that looked really out of date, like old farmer's clothing.
I'd shoot it. I wouldn't trust that. I'd shoot it right in the face.
He had black hair and a long black beard. He kept walking and never noticed me or my dad, and so I just kind of put that memory into the back of my mind. That is, until about 3 months ago. I was deer hunting by myself on that part of the farm again. I was walking with my rifle to where I had seen that man so many years before, when I tripped and fell forwards. I got up and looked at what I had tripped on, and noticed a low headstone on the ground. It was very old and faded, but the only thing written on it was, "Unknown, deceased, 1899. I then spun around to keep walking, but saw something that has scarred me to this day. 10 feet in front of me was the same man I saw all those years ago, hanging from a tree by a noose. Same clothes, same hair, same beard, his head slumped to the side.
What the fuck? No, fuck that. I'd shoot it. I'd shot it. You should have shot it then. You should have shot it now. Shoot it. Shoot it in his fucking face.
Lifeless. I screamed and ran for it, absolutely terrified.
And why is there just one headstone out in the woods that says unknown? Fuck that. No.
I told my dad, and he went to check it out. He came back half an hour later and said there was no dead body, but he did see a headstone. That was impossible. I knew what I'd saw. I was creeped the hell out and too scared to sleep that night. The next day, I went to my local library and did a lot of research on the area. Eventually, I came across an article in an old newspaper, dated July 7th, 1899. The article talked about an unidentified man who hung himself on a family farm, and no one had come forward to claim the body. It said they buried him next to the tree where he killed himself.
Oh, what? Don't do shit like that. Don't do it on the property of work. No, fuck, shit. No, no. You put him in a graveyard, away from places where people can be. Just away.
Next to the article was a picture of that same man's body in a coffin. Old farmer clothes, black hair, long beard. Since then, I haven't been back in those woods.
Shit, I'd leave Kentucky altogether. I'd be like, no. Some freaking hangman ghost trying to kill people. I wouldn't be dealing with that shit. I wouldn't deal with none of it. Alright. If y'all enjoyed today's story as much as I enjoyed today's story, please leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange things that just make you go, huh, I'm getting away from Kentucky, think about subscribing. Alright. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Why in the hell? Maybe there was the old man that was in the house that was previously a kid. So maybe the kid went in there, got lost in the maze, became an old man, went to Kentucky, hung himself in the tree, and now he's just there.